When I understand that you talked to the the Interior Minister who was here on the ground, and he was upset with me, I understand.
That's right, yes. He came here about midnight last night whilst we were still working, and he said that he was upset by a tweet that he thought you had done, saying that there is no presence of government. Apparently this had been picked up by the local media and was made into a big story.
What did the tweet allegedly say? There's no presence of the government. I never said that, nor have I been able to send out any tweets because there's no cell service here. The show sent out a tweet based on something I said, which was, and I think you would probably agree with this, that I've seen very little large-scale Philippine military in the surrounding areas. There's Philippine military here at the airport, and there's some roadblocks in the town, but in terms of like a grid-by-grid search, a street-by-street search for any survivors or even those who have died, I haven't seen any searches, have you?
No, I've seen no systematic search for survivors. I mean, not to say that it didn't happen in different areas, but I personally have not seen that. All I've seen is the recovery of bodies at this point. But what the Interior Minister was saying is what the government has been saying all along, that the local government, the local infrastructure was wiped out. So the first responders who would usually deal with this kind of crisis were the victims themselves. So this is really what they're trying to hammer home to people, which is why they believe that the issue is in the media, that it may have been a little slow. But they're very sensitive to people saying this is slow, but you've got to say what you see.
Yeah, I don't mind being criticized for something I actually said, but obviously I did not say that. But I will say, you hear it from all the residents here, they don't understand why a mother who's lost 6 children and who's only found 3 of their bodies, why she has to search all by herself, why some military or police assets can't be used, as they were in Japan after the tsunami, to search block by block, to even look for any survivors. I know that early on the government said our emphasis on the survivors, not recovering the dead, but there could have been people trapped alive under rubble, and unless there's an organized search, which I haven't seen, and again, just in this area, lives could have possibly been saved.
Well, absolutely, and this is many natural disasters that we've covered. This is what you see right at the beginning. You see the desperate look for the survivors, but it has been on an individual basis. It's been, as you say, the mother looking for her children. And the one thing that the Interior Minister said as well was when I asked him, look around you, there are so many people desperate to get out. This is a chaotic situation. He quoted Katrina to me and said other countries have problems as well. Now, of course, I pointed out that is not something you want to aspire to. You want to do better. You want to make sure that there's a better response. He said that no response would be good enough.
I just want to clarify, I did not tweet saying that there was no government presence, because obviously there's soldiers around. But in terms of organized, large-scale efforts out in this community, I just haven't seen it, nor have everybody I've talked to who's searching for their dead children or dead husbands or dead wives, they said they haven't received help in the search. We got to take a quick break. We're going to have a lot more on the aid effort. And again, there has been an uptick in aid arriving here at the airport. And also, I went out with the Marines on an Osprey to a nearby island, about 30-minute flight from here, to assess the situation. I went out there with a captain from the Philippine Navy. You'll meet him ahead. We'll be right back. That certainly is a big challenge, as we've been seeing. I'm joined by all our correspondents who have been here far longer than I, Paula Hancock and Andrew Stevens, Nick Baden Walsh as well. We talked about this at the top of the program. I just want to reiterate, there are apparently some belief among the Philippine government or the Interior Minister who was upset with me that saying that I tweeted something that there's no government presence here. There certainly is a government presence. What I was saying, and I didn't tweet anything at all, was saying that I have not seen a big relief effort out in communities by Philippine military personnel doing a grid search for bodies, even searching for any survivors. Do you all agree with that pretty much? I mean, what are you seeing out there in terms of the aid effort? It's certainly gotten better over the last day.
Absolutely. Just yesterday I was with the World Food Programme, and they had 3 army trucks taking the aid down to a big warehouse. There's actually a warehouse that was pre-existing and hadn't been demolished. They called it the Golden Warehouse because it wasn't hit by the storm and it wasn't looted. I mean, there was an armoured person, there was an APC down there, there was a lot of military down there to make sure. But there's a lot of food there. WFP says they've got 75,000 family packs that are out there. They want to get the word out that people are getting food at this point.
Yeah, I've been speaking to the man basically pretty much in charge of the government response to this, and his analogy is it's like trying to fill up a swimming pool with hoses. We're getting more and more hoses in there, and they are. And he said, look, we had a plan. Our plan was to come in on day 3, and it was going to be a first responder issue. But, as he points out, the first responders disappeared. Now, they got in here 24 hours after that storm. They weren't able to do much, and there is no doubt about it. You go downtown now, and there is so much anger still, and there is military presence, but there's still so much work to be done down there. So the government appreciates that, realises that, but they're saying we're doing the best we can.
The remarkable thing is we went for a drive yesterday out from Tacloban City down south to the towns that line the southern road, also in the path of the storm, but as you drove away from here, it's sort of slowly less affected, still badly hit. The key issue for the furthest one away was we were turned back by police saying they're rebels and bandits. They claim robbing civilians for food, perhaps. You move back here in the town Parlo, not far away from here, very concrete in its infrastructure, so able to resist a lot, and a much more organised mayor who said to us she buried the 813, that's a lot of bodies, in the first 48 hours. They'd given out food before the storm, they had an infrastructure working there. That's all great, but it begs the question, this is the biggest city here, you know, it's a huge gulf in the government's capabilities here. There are still dead bodies on that road as you go in, you know, the same ones day after day, and people do have to ask themselves what's the priority been here and where have they been in the past, certainly the initial 4 days, the slow trickle we're seeing now.
Yeah, and hopefully that's just going to get better and better as the days pass. I appreciate all of your reporting. We're going to take a short break. We'll have more coverage from the Philippines when we come back. We'll be right back.